fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. And now, whenever we last left off, with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya and Venom. Roughly 7 months before the entrance exam, Midoriya was sparring with All Might. And All Might, he actually did, in their fight, lose a tooth. Venom asking permission to use that piece of All Might's DNA to improve Midoriya. Upon doing so, Midoriya grew a full foot taller, gained a lot more muscle, and apparently does actually notice a sizable increase in his own physical strength. Now, along with that, he also did meet Toga, or as she called herself, Himiko. Now, Midoriya and her did actually begin to hang out. Now, Midoriya would occasionally drop by the arcade and talk to Himiko, along with actually convince her to try to take the UA entrance exam. Her actually doing her own physical sparring, or training herself. Now, with that being said, we do have roughly about 4 months later, where Midoriya, he actually has been building more and more upon his strength. Him actually meeting a couple pro heroes and shaking their hand, along with actually having Venom ask the permission to use their abilities, or their quirk's abilities, for Midoriya. Now, certain pros, they did agree to it, and there actually was a few that did actually say no. Now, Venom actually did just say that he does understand, and that he was curious about what they could do to help to improve Midoriya and make sure he does survive, especially whenever he does become a pro hero. Now, at that point, certain pros, they would either walk away or bait, line, and sinker. They would ask Midoriya more and more about his abilities. A sixth sense, a combat suit, physical strength, and, well, durability, and the fact that he can shrug off any damage to his body in an instant. Needless to say, they agree, thinking that this could benefit them down the line in the future. Now, basically, Venom would bond with these people whenever Midoriya shakes their hand. And for a second, Venom would take their DNA before coming back to Midoriya. Now, with that being said, we do have today, where Midoriya, he did just get done working out with All Might. And him and Venom are actually walking into the mall. As they do walk by that video game shop, they would both look in. It doesn't seem like Himiko is here. Yeah, I've noticed that she's actually been taking a lot of time off from her games. What is it? This is the... How many times have you missed her? A couple. It's happening a lot more. I see that. I've been there. Anyways, what else are you gonna do here? Well, I was gonna talk to her for a minute, but, well, I guess I can go to that music shop now. Music shop. Venom, I'm aware. Avoid the speakers. Okay? Fine. Go ahead. Now, Midoriya would walk in, and the guy standing at the counter does somewhat just take a double shot at Midoriya. Him looking up, looking back down, and looking back up confused. Asking, who is he? Hmm? Oh, hi, I've been in here before? Uh, dude, I don't think I've ever seen you in here. Uh, yeah, that was probably before all of this. Hmm? Probably before what? I grew a foot taller and gained like 20, 50 pounds of muscle? Hmm. Are you sure? Because I would have remembered you. Yeah, I don't think you do. Midoriya asking the dude where this genre of music is. Let's say a calmer version of heavy metal. Or at least songs that aren't bass boosted. Now, with that, Midoriya does actually walk around. And he's actually looking over to see what they do have. As Midoriya and Venom are both talking. Midoriya reaching out with his left hand to actually go and grab something. Well, Venom, who is on his shoulder, is looking around at certain other sections. Some people do look at Midoriya. And this giant thing coming out of his shoulder, it's looking at music. Honestly, that's pretty cool. Now, Midoriya, he actually does find the thing that he was looking for. And he does go to reach out to grab it. As he does pick it up, he does actually go to flip over the back and look at it. Let's see. Oh, I think I've heard this band before. Really? You have? Midoriya then looking up. And we do see Ba-da-ba-ba Jiro. Now, Midoriya does just look at her for a second. And she does just say that that band actually is pretty old school. But they do at least have certain other songs over there. Her pointing to a large bin filled with CDs. As she does ask Midoriya, what's going on with this quirk? Oh, Venom. Venom taking a loud sigh and actually coming back to Midoriya. As he does spin around and reveal his weird face. Kyoka actually sort of taking a step back for a second. Whoa. Oh, don't be so surprised. Never seen a sentient quirk before? Uh, um, this is a first, actually. Ow. That's weird. Venom, be nice. Besides, not a lot of people have ever seen you. Fair enough. Now, Venom does actually ask her certain questions. This genre of music, this genre of music, and this genre, where are they? Her giving an answer, and actually asking Midoriya about his ability. Him actually slowly explaining it. Him only talking about Venom's strengths. And she does just look a bit more puzzled. As Venom actually does cover Midoriya, and she does see what he's talking about. As I did not believe I stated this in the beginning, but this is what Midoriya does look like. He does have the big white spot on his face where he can see out of. However, he does not have the Spider-Man symbol on his chest. I am specifying that. Now, with that being said, Jiro does just look at Midoriya, as he actually does walk over and bend down casually and picking up the giant bin with one hand, talking about how this is actually very light, before setting it back down. And she does just say that he should try out for UA. Yeah, I'm going to. Wow, really? Yup. I'm actually training with a pro hero right now. Whoa, really? Which one? That's my secret. Tell you what, do you plan to go to UA? I do, yeah, I want to go. It's my dream school. It's everyone's. Anyways, how about this? I'll tell you the pro hero I'm training with if I see you there. Sure. Alright, well, later. Noya walking away. As Jiro's just left standing there, watching this giant dude leave. Before it just clicked in her head for a second. Wait, he's going to UA. Oh god, he's the same age as I am. Wait, he's the same age as I am. How is he so huge? Now, with that being said, Jiro just pondered that for a minute. As Midoriya, he does head home and continue the cycle. As Bakugou, he is growing a lot more suspicious. And he does try and confront Deku one day. As he does talk about how Deku, he's just been fucking freaky. And about how he doesn't care what or who he is. Talking about how he's going to beat him into a pulp, then head to UA. The moment he wins, Deku better not go crying home to mommy. Now, Midoriya, he actually does stand up against Bakugou. Both of these two in class. As Midoriya does just stand up, and Bakugou, he actually does have to look upwards to look into Midoriya's face. Midoriya telling Bakugou that this battle is over before it even began. Bakugou actually bring up his fist to go and throw a punch. Now, Midoriya casually dodges that and actually does grab Bakugou by his wrist with his right hand and actually throw him over his shoulder. Now, the moment that Midoriya does do that, he does this without Venom's help. Him actually throwing Bakugou directly into a school door. As the door breaks off its hinges and Bakugou goes flying into the class across the hall from his own. Now, a lot of people do just stare at Midoriya for a second. As Midoriya does walk into the classroom and the teacher does see him. Bakugou getting back up onto his feet as he actually does go to blast an explosion directly into Midoriya's face. Venom actually covers Midoriya's face and body as he takes the hit. Now, though he does actually do that, Bakugou, enraged, does try and fight more, as Midoriya holds him up by his arm, squeezing down a lot, and hurting Bakugou. Him trying to punch in Midoriya's face over and over and over, and even trying to rip the Venom symbiote off of it. As Midoriya, he does just bring up his other hand, grabbing Bakugou by his arm, before kneeing Bakugou in the gut hard, as Bakugou does drop to his feet and puke up his lunch. Now, Midoriya tells Bakugou as he does bend down that things have changed. You asshole. Me, the asshole? You attacked me here. Besides, you wouldn't catch up to me in a million years. I'll get you back, you bastard. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does actually get suspended from school for hurting Bakugou, and as multiple other people did say, starting the fight. Sure, Midoriya could have tried to de-escalate it, and the teacher, he did try and say that Midoriya was defending himself, but a lot more people were talking about what Midoriya did in the other classroom than the one that Bakugou was thrown from. And there's a lot of conflicting arguments. Some people even covering for Bakugou, and some actually afraid of Midoriya. Now, with that being said, All Might, he's made aware of this one day. And he does actually come to Midoriya's school, where the class is surprised to see All Might actually pop into the classroom, asking to speak with Bakugou Katsuki. Now, a lot of people do try and overhype Bakugou, how his quirk is so good that the number one hero himself is coming to congratulate him personally with a recommendation. Basically, being brown-nosing fucks. Seriously, it's annoying when people do that. Anyways, back to the story. Now, All Might does pull Bakugou out of class to speak with him. And Bakugou does learn a bit more about something going on. All Might basically explained to Bakugou that to be a proper hero, you must not fight with others the way he currently does, and how he needs to strive to be the bigger person and the better person. Bakugou not buying not buying what All Might is selling. Now, Bakugou does go on talking to All Might about how when he gets to UA, he's going to become the greatest hero. And that he does actually plan to surpass Deku. I doubt you can surpass the alien. You say something, All Might? Oh, nothing, young man, nothing. Anyways, now, I believe I should go. All Might then leaving. As he does actually just think. Midoriya still hasn't accepted his offer of one for all. And then there's, well, this guy. Let's see, if I gave Midoriya one for all, that would make, well, Unstoppable Beast. However, there's also those concerns that I'm afraid of. All Might just thinking. He saw everything that Midoriya has seen. And more. In fact, he even saw the previous host that Venom was bonded to before Midoriya. He's been meaning to talk to him about the boy. But he must know, right? It's just something Midoriya does not acknowledge, or he's already come to terms with. He's unsure about it all. That man was a sociopath, a psychopath. And Midoriya just walks around every day as if nothing happened that day. Okay, so. I'll ask him about Bakugou Katsuki, and possibly adding him to the list for potential candidates. But I should either find one now or wait till UA. If I give my quirk to a UA student, that could either raise suspicion or All Might thinking a bit more on this, about how it could actually possibly benefit them. So, he'll ask about it all. And hopefully, he can figure it all out. Now, we actually do cut the rest of the time up to the UA entrance exam. And we have Izuku and Venom. Now, Midoriya, he is not wearing his typical clothing. In fact, Venom has actually put the idea into Midoriya's head about shapeshifting. Midoriya can already create tools out of Venom. So, one thing to make it a lot easier for Venom to cover his body would be to already have his body partially covered at all times. And the best way to do that would be to make clothing out of him. Midoriya did find this to be quite weird. However, he actually did get used to it. Especially because Venom can actually mimic baggy and actually nice materials that Midoriya does actually like in his clothes. If Midoriya is cold, Venom can simply just turn into a thicker material, or mimic its composition and become it, essentially. Now, Midoriya is wearing black pants, a black shirt and hoodie, and black shoes. Now, he actually does walk into UA, and a lot of people do see him, wondering why he's not wearing a school uniform. Now, this would be where somebody actually does stop him. as Ida does tell Midoriya that he cannot come in here. What do you mean? I'm just here for the entrance exam. You are not even wearing a proper school uniform. Okay. Venom actually shape-shifting on Midoriya's command, as Midoriya just mimics Ida's clothing. Ida just watching confused. Does this work? Uh, um, that is strange. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Midoriya walking away. Ida left there, surprised and confused, as Midoriya changes his clothing back. Now, with that being said, Midoriya and Bakugou are both sitting next to one another. As Bakugou, he has not spoken to or acted out against Midoriya since the day they fought months ago. Now, Midoriya, he was kind of thankful for this, because he no longer has to deal with Bakugou's drama. However, at the same time, it is also kind of strange. Now, the written exam portion is quite simple. Midoriya, he does actually do very well. In fact, he does score fairly high. I want to say within the top 3 of the class, or of Class 1A, whenever he does get to that point. Now, we do then have, whenever it is time for the combat portion, as Midoriya does actually just walk forwards, and Ida does see him once again. Ida trying to stop him as Midoriya is walking by. Now, Ida doesn't just hold out a hand and get in his way. He fully steps in front of Midoriya, telling him that he cannot go talk to that girl. What girl? Now, Ida is trying to explain that around the time that he walked in, a girl walked in, or they were at least entering at similar times. Was he not talking to her? No, I came here by myself. Well, anyways, I do have questions about your quirk. Izuku! Midoriya does here, as somebody actually does walk up to Midoriya and actually go to greet him. Midoriya turning his head and seeing Toga, as he actually does wave up his hand, as somebody in the crowd did actually hear this. Now, they actually do go to the center of the, sound, as Midoriya, who did actually start to greet Himiko, is met with Kyoka, who actually does walk out from behind a person and see Midoriya. As Toga, she is giddy and excited. Her actually in a red tracksuit, and looking at Midoriya, saying that it's been a while. Yeah, it has, Himiko. Did you start training more? Oh yeah, I did. You got me super hyped for this. I've been trying to train a lot. Yeah. Actually, you kinda had me concerned for a minute there. It felt like you were avoiding me. Why would I avoid you? You're the only person who's ever been nice to me about my quirk. That's actually a good point. Guess I just overreacted. As somebody actually does say, yo, to Midoriya. Midoriya looking up and seeing an earphone jack. As he actually does, look around a bit more, seeing who it's connected to. As Kyoka does actually just throw up her fingers, holding up a peace sign, saying, hey. Oh, hey. You're the one from the music shop, right? Yeah. Surprised you remembered. Ida still standing there with his hands up. As President Mike does say begin, everyone standing there just running forwards. As Midoriya does actually turn and look directly at Ida, as he actually does throw up his hand and Venom does cover it. Midoriya picking up Ida before just tossing him to the side and running forwards. As Himiko and Kyoka do actually run out to try and chase after Midoriya. Now, Ida does get up, and after feeling insulted and wiping off his glasses, runs out there to try and gain some points. Now, with that being said, we actually do have Midoriya, who people do see as he is whipping around the air. People actually mistaking him for having a flight quirk. However, there is just the way he's moving. Now, Midoriya, he actually is running around and slicing through multiple robots with two bladed arms. As people do see this happen. And Midoriya, he is punching through multiple robots effortlessly, along with actually running on the walls, as he just smashed through multiple ones, as he goes flying through the air and lands on one before punching through two by extending his hands outwards into simple spikes. Now, people are amazed by Midoriya, and they actually do realize that this is a competition. If they don't catch up, that guy's going to take all the points. Now, Midoriya, he actually does feel his adrenaline pumping and his heart racing, as his primal fighting instincts do begin to take over, as Venom himself does actually begin to have a bit of fun. As Midoriya he's punching through multiple robots, he also does form claws, as he simply begins to tear multiple robots apart and have a lot of fun. As Midoriya actually does pick up a robot and rip it into pieces, as the robot does actually try to throw out a fist and attack Midoriya. The moment it does do that, Midoriya simply does form teeth on his face and bite straight into the robot's arm. People watching as Midoriya chews a robot's arm into two pieces, before Venom just spits it out and Midoriya just punches it across the face. As they would see, this Venom, the one that you do see on Midoriya's hoodie in the picture. Now, Midoriya, as he's tearing and ripping apart robots, he has way too much fun. And he doesn't really come to his senses. Only whenever people are running away and he is looking around. Where's the robots? Where's the robots? Now, that's all that Midoriya does think, as the giant zero pointer does appear. And he does go to run in. Now, he actually does feel his spidey sense go off, as he does look down and see that somebody is almost crushed by some rubble. Now, as he actually does head in, he runs over, as he does go to pick up the rubble and throw it off of Ochako. The moment he does, he actually does look up to see Himiko, who does tell Midoriya to move. As Midoriya does look at her, he does actually look up and go to see the zero pointer's leg as it's about to come down. Someone actually jumping in the way and trying to help Midoriya, as they immediately just throw their hands up and try to blast sonic waves or subsonics. Now, Kyoka is actually just blasting these up in the air from the palms of her hands. As Midoriya, he does begin to freak out. Now, Jiro is barely holding back the zero pointer, and she's working with sweat quickly, as she actually does look down and see Midoriya as he's freaking out with Venom. Venom moving and shifting off of his body frantically, as Midoriya is screaming out in pain, throwing his hands up to his ears, telling her to shut it off, shut it off, shut it off, and that they can't take it. Now, Ochako does look down, and she actually does grab Midoriya by his hand, or at least try to, as Venom grabs onto her and grabs her by her wrist. Her confused as she does actually try to pull back. The moment she does, she actually does have Venom cover her entire arm, and then cover her body, before Ochako does just leap off the ground and immediately attack the 0-pointer. Now, with that being said, this would be whenever the 0-pointer does actually get stopped in its tracks immediately. And then Venom does jump back down onto the ground. As Midoriya does actually stand up and try to regain his senses. As Jiro does ask Midoriya if he's alright. Venom screaming out that she should not have done that. As she looks at Midoriya, and then at Ochako. Back to Midoriya. Now, this is quite confusing. As Ochako Venom does walk back over and bring up her hand. Midoriya reaching out and grabbing it as Venom does transfer back to Midoriya completely. And Ochako does just stand there with her eyes wide for a second, and a weird look of confusion on her face. Huh? What just happened? Midoriya is staying there without the Venom symbiote. Symbiote. Anyways, he just goes on telling her that it's really not something that she should worry about. I didn't know you could do that, Venom. Had to. Sound was annoying. Now, Ochako does actually let go of Midoriya's hand, saying thank you. Wait, my leg. I'm okay. Yeah, that's something that Venom can do. Not to ruin the moment, Himiko does say. I have these three looking at her, before she actually does just point down, lower, on Midoriya. Midoriya just looking down and realizing that he's not wearing his clothes. As he actually does go to throw up his hands in front of his underwear, telling them that this is kind of embarrassing. Yeah, Jiro does say looking away, talking about how he's basically made of fucking marble. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'm trying not to laugh at that last part. Anyways, I really do hope you guys enjoy. Good night.